All right, so as some of you guys may know, I'm running the Old Town Autopilot 136, and I'm going to be installing this Humminbird Solix 10. Now I will tell you, it was a little bit of a pain to go ahead and install this, so that's why I'm making this video, so that way if there's anybody out there installing a Solix, they can watch this video and it would help them out a lot. I know the Helix is not so much of a big deal, and I'll explain what I mean by that, but installing the Solix, because of the cables being so thick, so you run the transducer wire through one of these scupper holes, and you're going to run the cable through here. Now the problem and the issue is that the cable to the transducer doesn't fit into the hole. What hole? This one, which is the same hole as this one. So what I ended up having to do was take off the bracket that the motor, the trolling motor, goes locked into. I took that off. I went ahead and took off the triangle piece. After doing so, I went ahead and took a Dremel with a little bit of a sandpaper, okay, and I put it in through the hole that Old Town provides after taking off that triangle piece, as you can see there. And I slowly started making it wider and wider and wider, without obviously ruining the holes where the screws go into, right? So the screws are going to be these right here, right, and they go right in through there. So what I did was I put it in there as such, and I just slowly started going around in circles. I would probably do like one, sometimes I would do 2 laps, take it off, and go ahead and try to put the cable through. Finally I was able to get this wide enough to where, again, I didn't ruin the holes for the screws, and I was able to get the cable to fit through here, right? Obviously it's going to come out through here and not in, because once it comes out, it's going to go ahead and load on top of or plug into the Humminbird unit itself. So again, back to where the transducer is. So again, the transducer gets mounted right in here, which I haven't done so yet, but I will. As soon as it gets mounted, the cable runs through here. You put the cable in through the hole once it's wide enough. Put the bracket back on, which I still haven't tightened it yet, because I want to make sure that I load I put the transducer in first before I tighten that. After that's done, the next step is going to be put the plate back on for the motor. Now here's the tricky part. Then I'm going to have to run the transducer cable through the bottom, or through the inside of the boat, through the inside of the kayak, and run it out through here. What I did was I tied a little bit of braid to the transducer cable itself, and I'm going to run it in through here. Once I go ahead and get it to here, I get the braid, pull out the cable, and then that's going to be hanging out the side until the second process. The second process is going to be the same thing, but with the power. So I'm running Dakota Lithium 12 volt 23 amp hour batteries, where I'm going to be running my graph, and I'm going to be running a power pole, which I will do another video on that probably on a later date. First things first. So I'm going to put this into here. I did order some Velcro, some double-sided Velcro, so I'm going to be putting a strip of Velcro here, another strip of Velcro here, so 2 sides, where then I would put another 2 sides here and here, so that way it will be able to be in there without shifting around whenever I move the kayak, and I'm not having batteries bouncing around the inside of the kayak itself. So once I do that, I'll get the cable, do the same thing, run braid on the cable, feed it all the way through here, pull the cable out through here, and then that power cable is going to go also connected to the Humminbird unit. Once that is done, obviously I would close the hatch there. I'll have power, and I will have the transducer connected. I will then go ahead and put the bracket back on along with the foam, tighten everything up, and that should be it. Again, it's a little bit of a tedious project, but with the Solix you can get it done. You can. Again, when you do the Dremel, please just take your time. Go in circles, maybe 1, maybe 2 laps. Test out the cable, put it in there. Doesn't fit, take the cable out. Go 1 or 2 laps, put it in there until it fits. Once it fits, do the same process to this hole. And another tip before I end this quick video, and then once I sum it all up, probably show you guys what it looks like. I got a little tip from a friend online, which I'll go ahead and put his Instagram on the description below. But I kind of did like a triangle right inside the triangle, if that makes any sense. Because if you do perfect circles right at the end, then you're gonna run into making these very close to being ruined. So initially I did circles until I got really close to those, to the actual hole for the screw, and then I just started doing triangles. So I would push this side, then I would push this side, then I would push this side, and then I would go ahead and check the cable, and ultimately it worked. So I thought I was gonna need to sell the Solix and go with the Helix, because again, this is very friendly when it comes to the Helix, but I do not. So I'm very happy with the fact that I'll be able to run the Solix 10. And yeah, so let me just wrap this all up and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so like I mentioned before, I have a Dakota Lithium 12 volt 23 amp hour battery that I'm going to be using to power my graph. It's inside the kayak right now, velcroed down. Not sure if you guys can see that. Probably not, it's pretty dark, but you can hear it. So that's not going anywhere, right? And the other one's going to be on this side, and that's going to be for my power pole. Again, I'll do a video on that another day. I don't see myself getting around to it today. So I run the cable from here under all the way through this hole, which I haven't sealed off yet. I'm still working on the transducer, which once I put the transducer on, mount it, I will seal this hole with the grommet and everything, and then or not, sorry, not the grommet, the gasket, and then I'll go ahead and put the bracket back on for the trolling motor, make sure that's good. I'll close all this up, and once I dump all those wires in there and everything's tucked away, close that. This is the cable for the transducer. That's gonna go mounted, and like I said, I just put power, so the moment of truth, if we're gonna have power right now. Looks like we got power. All right. She's a beauty. Can't wait to get her on the water. Let's go. Beautiful. All right, so I'm done installing the graph, and this is how I ran it. Just to show you guys, I have the transducer down here, tucked away below this or above this, however you want to look at it. So that's not gonna get damaged. Then come up here, all the excess cables, I went ahead and zip tied it neatly, which I will go ahead and put inside the kayak shortly. I mounted the plate back, ran the cable through here, so the transducer cable comes in, it gets inserted through here, right? So that worked out perfectly. Again, the plate is on, secured perfectly. Come over here, then the transducer cable runs here, runs out, and it's connected. So everything came out perfect.